I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Wednesday, June the 21st, where we had a shake-up in the cattle feeding industry come out on Tuesday morning with news that JBS has decided to sell their Five Rivers cattle feeding operation, which is the largest in the nation by far, with nearly 1 million head capacity spread over several states there. And that really shook the board up early for fear that maybe JBS was going to have to sell one of their slaughter facilities too, because as been well advertised, they've got a penalty, a fine to have to pay. They've got a lot of problems with some payoffs and different kind of things that really hurt their reputation and were illegal that they've got to recover from. And but none of that news has come out that they're going to have to sell any slaughter facility. Just going to sell off their feeding facility, which is kind of a surprise there, because they had a hard time when they purchased Five Rivers. When the Brazilian company come in here, it had a big learning curve to figure out how procurement is handled here in the United States, with such a big pen space to have to fill there. They fell victim, kind of a punching bag to a lot of shady order buyers. They got some high-risk cattle that they didn't have an order out for. Ended up paying more commission and add-on charges than what they really thought, and you know, maybe show up with two buyers in the same sale barn, things like that. It takes time to get all that figured out, and some of these other big corporate feeders that are around the circuit had figured that out a long time ago, but they had kind of got over that and fit into the mainstream. But we'll see if that has any shakeup in feeder cattle demand. If we have one big enterprise come in there and take all of those feedlots over and all that capacity over, it'll basically just be a name change, and I guarantee you there'll be something in there that promises the bulk of those cattle, if not all of them, on the show list to JBS, because they want to keep those supplies captive. They don't want to sell those feed yards and then have to go out and actively compete for the cattle that come out of them. So you know that'll be part of the deal. But if they end up splitting those feedlots up and a few go here and a few go there, then that might change up the source where they go for those feeder cattle. And anytime you start moving into areas where you haven't been, or moving out of areas that you've been buying cattle, that ruffles up feathers, and it's going to change the dynamics of feeder cattle marketing in the United States down the road. But we'll see what happens. I would think there'll probably be some big money outfit come in and buy them all up, and it'll just be kind of a name change and not much else, similar to what happened whenever Cargill sold off Caprock feeding here just not too long ago. But you look at the board, it did recover from what it started out. It was a big shocker to the industry and to the board on the get-go, but then it kind of recovered throughout the day, with live cattle, the August contract closing just down 20 cents, and June was up 35, actually ending the day at 120.35, which is actually now higher than what your cash market is after they puked some cattle on Monday there. Feeder cattle contracts for August down $1.07. Like I said, Monday, just like a week ago Monday, whenever they come in there and had that big string of cattle sell $5 below what the established market was, this Monday you had more weak sisters coming in, jerking the rug out from the rest of your negotiated sellers, selling around 1,200 head in Iowa at 122. Which is, you know, sure, $4 to $6 lower, depending on where you want to call that ending market for last week. Already selling those here on a Monday, and then up in Nebraska had a 500 head string there, sell at 199. Whenever you know, 205 was the market there late in the week last week. But so now we've actually got the spot board already higher than what cash is there after we've been running the big basis. Now we got a negative basis, and it didn't seem like a week ago they'd ever come together, but it didn't take long when they take big bites like they do nowadays. But you look at Tuesday, El Reno, Oklahoma, OKC West had just 1,800 calves at the calf sale. You figure with everything bearish and the heat and everything, and everybody got all their pastures full, they sold the calves $5 to $10 lower. West Plains, Missouri at Ozarks Regional Stockyard had 4,100 head. Their calves sold $3 to $9 lower, but they did have several big strings of yearling heifers on offer there, and they actually sold steady to $3 higher. That's going to be kind of the way it is for the next several weeks here during this heat. When you have some hard yearlings show up at a sale, they're going to sell pretty good. The weigh-up's going to be good on them. Guys are wanting them. Even in south central Missouri, there's plenty of demand for those cattle because it's not a problem if they don't have a lot of hair. They're not going to worry about quality or anything like that very much, because they can pretty much go anywhere with the type of weather that they're going to be fed in and the heat, and then going into the early part of the fall, that's not going to be a problem, not having any hair or being able to withstand any cold. So they can pretty much go anywhere in the 5-area feeding region. And so we see that if there's any yearlings show up. You look at some strings of heifers there. They had a lot of 7-weight yearling heifers there at West Plains, and in the 7 to 750 pound category, had 576 head of heifers, averaging 7 1/4 at 144. That's not too bad a price. Another individual quote on Beef Market Central there in Phillips, South Dakota, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, had 71 head of steers, weighed 834 at 150.75. That's your feeder flash for Wednesday.